real stories of werewolves, of dogman from history, from your emails, illustrated and animated with the democratizing magic of machine learning AI. Welcome to Scary Stories.
The Siberian Husky Man. Dear Scary Stories NYC, I spent most of my life as a mercenary, a gun for hire internationally. I've had many strange adventures as you can imagine, but I can't tell you about most of them. One random set of experiences that I had in eastern Siberia many years back would not be considered classified by any of my past employers, so I'm going to take the chance to send you some juicy wolf nuggets for you and your audience to digest. You see, I don't know if werewolves or dogmen are real in the United States. I literally have no idea. But I would suspect that they are real here, since I had to deal with something that matched that description in the wilds of Siberia back in those days many years ago. I arrived there in the summer, when it's sort of more like Canada than the North Pole. The temperature was in the 70s half the time I was there, and I only saw some snowfall in the last couple of weeks before I left the country later on in autumn. But warm or cold, the wilderness in Siberia is not exactly a weekend resort. You need to keep on top of your game to survive, and if I was going to be able to carry out the mission I had been hired to perform, I was going to need to subsist off the land in those woods through the entire warm season into the beginning of the cold one. Now obviously I can't get into the main reason I was there, but I can tell you about my dealings with the dogman, since those were sort of side adventures, I guess you would say. None of my employers had any idea the two-legged werewolves were even a thing, as far as I can tell. The first time I saw one of the things, it was entirely by luck and accident. It was raining pretty hard, and I came upon a tree that looked familiar. It was just similar to the one I had seen that was miles away, but it took my mind a few seconds to remember the basic area I had seen that first tree in, so I momentarily got concerned that I was walking in circles. Before I realized this tree was not the same as that original one, I had turned around to look behind me, subconsciously looking back in the direction that the first tree had been. While I glanced back in that direction, though, I saw what looked like an incredibly tall dog, or the silhouette of one off in the distance. It was the glow of its eye shine that first caught my attention, and then the frame of the creature. The instant our eyes met, however, it ducked behind some objects that did not look tall enough to obscure a creature which, just a few seconds earlier, had been quite tall and quite wide. Well, it was gone now. I watched in that direction for some time, and I grew concerned about this new development. First of all, it seemed that dog thing had been watching me for some time, and I had no idea how long. And part of the reason I had no idea is that I never got that vibe that I was being watched. Now, I always get that feeling. I always know when there are eyes on me. I can even sense a drone camera on me or a telescope. I just know somehow. But I didn't know when the dog thing was trailing me. This was very concerning, as you can imagine. For the rest of the time I was in eastern Siberia, I felt like I was being watched every single second of every day and every night. And I probably was, too. The second time I ran into one of these creatures, it tried to end my life. I was walking up a fairly steep incline. Not a mountain, but a hilly area with a wall to my left and a bit of a drop to my right. As I came around the bend, I got blindsided by something running out of what must have been either a cave or an indentation in the wall over there. It was the dogman, or at least one of them. He rammed me hard with his shoulder and sent me flying. My feet were no longer underneath me as I skidded and slid and fell down that hill. When I was able to arrest my fall, I looked up and saw that dogman, or whatever it was. I saw it somewhat clearly for the first time. It looked kind of like a husky, to be honest, but it also looked like a Bigfoot, if you know what I mean. This was a man-shaped monster with a big wide chest and a husky-like head. He looked as muscular as a weightlifter, but as furry as a wolf. I looked up at him and he screamed back down at me. He seemed furious that I had survived the fall, and without warning, he began sliding and barreling down the incline toward me, clearly intent on finishing the job. I fired upon the target repeatedly, and it seemed I was succeeding in hitting said target. But that just didn't seem to matter. Either it was avoiding the shots, or else it was just not bothered by them. In either case, I realized I'd better get out of there, and so I began to run away from the creature. The dogman continued to pursue me until the sky opened up in a torrential downpour, and I found myself a hollow old tree to hide inside. Well, I expected the creature from then on. Yet somehow it still managed to make a surprise attack on me as I relieved myself against a tree one night. The horrible creature tackled me from the side. It felt like it bent my spine sideways as we both hit the ground hard. I managed to land well and score a few blows on the beastman as he got up and immediately ran away. He had that sort of cowardly way of doing everything. Always sneaking up. Always trying to catch me unguarded. I wondered why he obsessed with me so much. And I still wonder if he was somehow working for enemies of my employers. That is not to say I thought he was human, because I did not. Whatever that thing was, it was an animal. A non-human animal. Once the cold weather came, I was close to finishing my mission. I was sick of Siberia by then, as I'm sure you can imagine. Mainly, this meant I was sick of the dogman. Under the cover of a snowstorm, the creature or creatures became nearly invisible. These days I carry scopes that can detect heat signatures, but in those bad old days I was flying completely blind when the snow started coming down hard enough. One time I heard the beast running up to perform one of his tricky sneak attack maneuvers. I dropped to my knees, ducked down and braced for impact. The wolfman ran into me and tripped, setting itself flying. I got out of there before the creature could recover. That told me that in the heavy snow the dogman might have been able to hear me better and smell me better, but its visibility was probably almost as limited as my own. It knew basically where I was, but it couldn't see that I had dropped down to the ground. This was when plans started hatching in my bird's nest of a mind. The one thing I knew for sure about the creature was that it was likely to keep attacking me, or at least attempting to. This is assuming I was dealing with only one. I had only seen these things or this thing in the rain or the snow. I still thought it possible that I was being harassed by an entire clan of the monsters, but I wasn't sure in either case. I hatched a plan to take the monster down and to eat him for dinner. I can send you that story if you'd like, but I'm not sure if it might be too violent for your YouTube channel. Let me know either way. Well, he did send that second story, and we have it coming out later tonight for channel members and PayPal Club members only. It's entitled, I Killed and Ate a Dogman, and it's far too wild to run on this YouTube channel. If you're a member, we'll see you there later tonight. The rest of you, please check out what your old pal Bigfoot has to say. Biggie? S.A. Rose, the Rose knows. Please join me in thanking tonight's executive producer, S.A. Rose, for making this episode possible. S.A. is a $7 member of our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. That means S.A. gets to see our secret uncensored Dogman story coming out later tonight, which explains what happened next in tonight's episode. If you want to find out how you can see the uncensored part 2 of tonight's episode entitled, I Killed and Ate a Dogman, then just listen to our international TV spokesmongrel, Henry Lee Dogman. Hank!
It's a classic all over. Play with the scary stories, got it. It's a classic all over. Money in a stand-up to go. Available in white, black, navy, gray, or pink. Link is in the description.
Thanks, Biggie. And thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button. Or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that one. It cuts off after I think 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.
Come back for more scary stories.